Hey everybody, SonGoshuaku here, and welcome to my WWE Clash of the Castle 2022 review. Despite an underwhelming finish, this show definitely delivered some top-notch WWE action. So the first match was WWE Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair teaming with Alexa Bliss and Asuka to take on Damage Control, consisting of Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. With 6 very talented ladies in the ring, you knew you were going to get good action, and that's exactly what this opening match delivered. To me, the biggest story part of it, however, was the very ending, when Bayley hits the Rose Plant on Bianca Belair, followed up by Io Sky hitting her moonsault, and then Bayley gets the pin 1, 2, 3. And I think this is very good for story, because honestly, you needed these women to win. I don't know why Triple H on Monday Night Raw decided to go ahead, despite giving all the attention into Dakota Kai and Io Sky, did not have them win women's tag team championships, so they had to rebound with a finish here, and you have to make these women look like a credible threat. So I am okay with Bianca here in a match where it's not for the championship, taking the pinfall loss, because it makes Bayley look very credible going up against Bianca Belair, as this is now something she can brag about. Obviously, I think Bianca Belair definitely should win and should drop it to one of the more newer women who are on the rise up, as opposed to someone who's established like Bayley, but no complaints at all. This was definitely the right outcome for this match. So I thought it was really cool as a tribute to Bulldog versus Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1992, which of course was the last major pay-per-view / special event that they had 30 years ago in the UK. WWE had Bret the Hitman Hart, and British Bulldog's family was there, so that was really cool to see. Speaking of which, next up for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, Walter, but of course they call him Gunther now, defending the Intercontinental title against Sheamus. So it was really cool and got me and Triple H, is that Giovanni Vinci was there joined with Ludwig Kaiser. So really cool that we have an Imperium reunion here on the main roster now. Heading into this show, I knew this match was gonna be hard-hitting, and yes, it was every bit of hard-hitting. This match was tons of chops to the chest. If you're a familiar fan of Dragon Ball, then Sheamus's chest was looking like Majin Buu. That's exactly how much of the welts had bruised up on him, and that means also Walter, he got his share of chops in. Sheamus, Walter, they were basically bringing the hits hard in this match. It was fantastic. The crowd was electric, as Michael Cole was saying all through the show, because this crowd was fantastic, and I knew this match was going to be hard-hitting. After a brutal exchange and exchanging each other's finishing moves and getting some false finishes towards the end, it was a lariat from Walter that finally put Sheamus down for the count 1, 2, 3. This was tremendous. It was one of the best Intercontinental Championship matches that I've seen since, I believe it was Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental title on one of those pandemic shows during SmackDown. That was fantastic, and it's just really good to finally see Triple H giving the Intercontinental Championship the respect it's supposed to have, because I've heard stories of, I think Chris Jericho saying that Vince McMahon once told him that nobody gives an F about the Intercontinental title. You look at these fans tonight, clearly they do care, and Triple H's booking of the Intercontinental title in recent weeks has proven that you got to make these championships feel like they mean something. This is a tremendous match, one of the best Intercontinental Championship matches we've had in recent history, and I hope to see more of the Intercontinental Championship defended, and I want to see more storylines, because I think for too long when it comes to these mid-card championships, ever since John Cena won the US title, WWE and other promotions like AEW have been too reliant on an open challenge. Yes, let's get back to the storylines, the characters, building up for these mid-card titles. I love the build-up with Sheamus wanting to get his Intercontinental Championship because it's the one title he's never won, and I love that they're building up Walter, because before he gets to that world title picture, mailed him up here in the mid-card. So fantastic stuff all around. Next up for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship, Liv Morgan defending the title against Shayna Baszler. I really love how Triple H just came right in and retconned the last 2+ years of Shayna Baszler's booking from Vince McMahon, because Shayna is a killer, and exactly if you've seen her NXT run, you know that this is where she's supposed to be, the championship picture. This match overall was pretty solid, and in the end, Liv Morgan actually picked up the clean victory victory against Shayna with her finishing move, the Oblivion. This is what you should have done from the beginning. This is what they should have done with Liv Morgan back when she faced Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam. She needs to pick up clean victories if you're going to make her the world champion. So I'm glad that they did this. Are they going to have another rematch with Ronda? Probably so. And if Liv goes over there, it has to be clean because, like I said, we need less of the booking of Liv Morgan from SummerSlam and more of the booking of what we saw here in the match. Credibility is everything when you're trying to convince the audience that this is a main event player. Next match was a tag team match. Edge and Rey Mysterio with Dominik Mysterio versus the Judgment Day, consisting of Finn Balor and Damian Priest with Rhea Ripley. Something really cool during the entrance. Edge came out in a mask, obviously, because he's teaming with Rey Mysterio, and anyone who grew up as a kid in the Ruthless Aggression era, or if you were a teenager in that era like I was, you have fun memories of Edge and Rey Mysterio teaming together. So that was cool to see this once again, and Edge was ultra over in this match. Definitely the crowd was loving Edge, and the match overall was really good in terms of back and forth action, but the big story is going to be the finish here. We even saw Edge break out a 619, or I think as Corey Graves called it, a 519. I was cracking up. Edge, you tried, and that's all you can do, right? But it was cool to see Edge attempt that. We even got Edge doing a suicide dive into a spear, so that was good. But in the end, Finn Balor succumbed to a double finish by Rey and Edge, as Rey hit the 619, and then that led into Edge hitting the spear, and the Judgment Day loses again. Something that happened really cool, though, before that pinfall was Rhea had picked up Dominik, was about to do the fall-away slam, and the whole story had been that no one wanted to basically defend themselves against Rhea, but Rey Mysterio came in like a torpedo and boom, full body right into Rhea's face with a dive, basically take her out, be like, keep your hands off my son, is basically the way Rey came in, which makes the ending all the more sadder, because when you get to the ending post-match, Dominik, at this point, we all knew that, yeah, he's probably going to be turning eventually, but we didn't know when, and once he helped Edge and Rey Mysterio win, I'm like, okay, well, it's not going to come now, because why would you turn on them by helping them win the match? You would rather want to turn on them by costing them the match, and well, that's exactly what happened, the opposite of what I thought. Edge is kicked in the balls by Dominik Mysterio, and then he clobbers his father with a clothesline. I'm talking one that would make JBL go like, that's my boy. Yeah, and so after that, the Judgment Day are cracking up and laughing like, yes, he's come over to the dark side, even though Dominik wasn't showing any sort of loyalty to the Judgment Day, and once again, the Judgment Day lost, so why would it matter? This was really confusing, because historically speaking, when it comes to professional wrestling, usually these heel turns are executed by turning on the person that they want to attack by costing them the match. We didn't get that here, and so it made this all confusing. So I don't know what was the motive behind this booking decision, other than they just wanted to swerve and shock people, because everybody would think, oh, he helped them win, so of course he's not going to turn. Oh, he turned. But it just kind of, like I said, left me wondering, like, well, why didn't you turn by costing them the match? No idea. So we'll see where this goes. And the Judgment Day, man, they've lost every big match. This is, as I mentioned earlier, with Damage Control, you have to give them credible wins in order for the audience to take them serious, but they're not doing that with the Judgment Day, so I don't know if anybody really can take them serious when it comes to them for the big matches. And yeah, I realize WWE, as I've always mentioned so many times, is making so much money they can do whatever booking decision. They're still going to make the most money, but I was hoping to see, with Triple H in charge now of creative, he would still want to push the Judgment Day as a threat, but that's not what's going on here. So it's like I said in my SummerSlam review, it ain't looking good for the Judgment Day, because they may have very well met their Judgment Day, and they met their Judgment Day again here at Clash of the Castle, and based on historically how they've been booking them all year since they got rid of Edge out of the group, it looks like they will continue to meet their Judgment Day over and over and over in these big matches. Next up, Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. This match build-up was tremendous. So many elements to Triple H involved to make this feel more like a realistic feud. Like that sit-down interview spot that they did, inspired from Daniel Cormier and John Jones' real-life heat from that time that they had a sit-down interview via satellite on UFC. This was awesome. Having Riddle drop the F-bombs and having him and Seth get personal really definitely helped bring Riddle up as a much more serious guy. It's great that he can do the comedy, but it's nice to show the audience that more serious side to Riddle, and that was really cool heading into this match. Now, my one big criticism of this match, which is not even the match itself, was the entrances. When you have a feud this heated and you have two guys that hate each other and want to rip each other's heads off, I thought the entrances totally missed the mark here. Having Matt Riddle come out on a scooter smiling and pointing to the crowd, and having Seth Rollins come out in fancy clothes and dancing around, no, to me, I felt this should have been the type of thing where they're both walking out with the BMF walk, trash talking and cursing, and basically just want to start running towards each other and ripping apart. Thankfully, when the bell rang, that's exactly what happened, and this match all the way was tremendous. Lots of great counters, lots of great moves used throughout the match, and the psychology of the storytelling really worked so well in this match, so it was definitely one of the best highlighted matches, I think, on this show. And the story toward the end was that Matt Riddle's emotions was getting the better of him. There's one point where he almost takes a steel chair to try and damage Seth Rollins, but Seth gets out of the way, which would have been a DQ. And as Matt Riddle gets into the ring, Seth Rollins hits the curb stomp and then eventually jumps off the top rope to hit a second curb stomp. 1, 2, 3, Seth Rollins walks away with the victory. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of constant rematches, but if you're going to do them, this is how you do it. There's a reason to have this rematch, because obviously this needs to be no holds barred, so that way Riddle can take out his full hatred for Seth Rollins, and this is exactly will lead perfectly into Extreme Rules, where obviously every match has to have some sort of form of a no DQ type of rule match. So I thought this works great, and Seth Rollins definitely needed a big victory here because he's been losing so much to Cody Rhodes, losing big matches, so we'll see where this ends up going from here. But yeah, like I said, I thought this was tremendous stuff. I just wish they would have been a little bit more heated during the entrances, but other than that, yeah, great stuff, can't complain. Next up, the main event for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Certainly a main event I was looking forward to. This is what the whole show was pretty much built around. So Drew McIntyre comes out to Broken Dreams, and yes, I go crazy because I love that theme. So long we have waited for it, but it was only used for a opening video package, and then Drew McIntyre came out to his current theme. So I felt that was like, I'm like, what a way to tease us. Yeah, very cool intro package, but like I said, we all wanted to see Drew McIntyre walking out to Broken Dreams. Roman Reigns comes out, always awesome entrance, and man, the crowd was hot for this. They were singing to Drew McIntyre. There was one point in the match where I think they were chanting an F you Roman chant, and Roman was really good at playing up the crowd, even grabbing the microphone at one point, telling Cardiff to acknowledge him. And of course here, unlike in the States, yeah, the WWE universe was actually booing for the most part. A few with their ones, but yeah, mostly boos, because in this case, Drew McIntyre was the home continent hero. This was fantastic match. Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, if you saw their Survivor Series 2022 match, this was more or less the same, except I thought it had even more suspense to it. These guys were going back and forth. It kind of slowly built themselves up, and then as it got more and more intense, they started unleashing all their moves and stuff, and when Drew McIntyre got hit with the spear and kicked out, crowd was into it. I was into it, and eventually he hits a Claymore, and I think Roman kicked out of that one because Drew had put him outside to the ring and speared him. There was even one part where Karrion Kross at ringside and threw a water bottle at Drew McIntyre, so him and Scarlett was there watching the match. You had Tyson Fury there into the match, and I was wondering when he was going to basically play a role in this match, and when there was a ref bump, you knew shenanigans were coming, and out comes Austin Theory, and Austin Theory has the Money in the Bank, and I guess he was on the pre-show from what I hear, so apparently they wanted fans going into this show knowing that, yes, you might see a cash in. And I was like, are they really going to have Austin Theory cash in? But before he could, you had Tyson Fury come out and boom, knocked him out. That was good stuff. And then from there, the fans were really getting into it. I was on the edge of my seat just waiting to see what was going to happen. And next thing you know, Drew McIntyre, he ends up getting another Claymore on Roman Reigns. You think it's over. 1, 2, and then he's pulled out of the ring. By who? Someone that looks like the Usos. And it's revealed to be Sikoa, who is in NXT. He's, of course, the youngest son of Rikishi, thus making him the youngest brother of the Usos. And there had been talk about a new Bloodline member. And of course, this is all the distraction that Roman Reigns needs to hit another spear on Drew McIntyre. And Drew, despite getting out of the spear the first time, breaking out of the guillotine and other efforts of the Superman punch, this one kept Drew down for the 1, 2, 3. And man, you could just see this booking decision of Triple H's basically just took the air right out of the 62,000 plus there in attendance. It took the air out of me. I was like, boo! I was booing. Like I said at the beginning of this review, underwhelming finish because honestly, and don't get me wrong, I love this tribal chief character of Roman Reigns. I love this bloodline stuff. But this year, honestly, with Roman being a part-time, I'm like, I just don't see where else you go with it. He's a part-time champion. He's not going to be around. And it's cool that they're taking Sikoa and bringing him into bloodline and advancing that. But man, like, when's the other chance that you would have had? Where's the other chance that you would have had to put the championship, the world title, on Drew McIntyre and let him get his moment? I thought this would have been the perfect time because Roman's going away and you obviously know Triple H is going to want to build up a lot of the younger talent or some of the newer talent. So right now for this period in the fall, let Drew get his big moment that he didn't get at WrestleMania 36, and at least in front of a live audience because of the pandemic took that away from him. I don't know when another chance like this is coming up where you can have Drew McIntyre win the world title at a stadium show. You gotta strike when the iron is hot sometimes. So I thought, honestly, Drew should have won this one. He should have went over, and you could have had Drew McIntyre basically go on as the world champion for the rest of the fall as Triple H takes his time to build up some newer stars. But now Roman's just going to be away with the world titles, and Raw and SmackDown are going to be without a world championship. And I thought, honestly, Roman Reigns, it was good enough that he already became a 2-year world champion, something that hasn't been accomplished in almost 40 years since Hulk Hogan. But I guess at this point, they probably feel we just got a little under a year left to go. Let's keep the title on Roman until WrestleMania, or keep the championship on him until he hits 1,000 days, because that's the closest you'll come to a Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino reign. I really think missed opportunity. I really want to see Drew McIntyre get his big moment that he did not get in front of a live audience. Till this time, we haven't seen it. That's something that I can give praise to Tony Khan about. At least he gave John Moxley his moment, because he too was world champion during that time where a full capacity crowd at least wasn't allowed in the audience. So I'm not sure where they're going to go from this. It's going to be interesting to see what they have in store to justify Roman Reigns still being world champion, because honestly, I think a 2-year reign was accomplishment enough. Hopefully we'll see Drew McIntyre get that moment, and what they did after the show, having him sing American Pie song and other songs with Tyson Fury on air as he's happy, I wasn't down for that. I know that's probably their way of sending the crowd home happy, but it's clear the people there in Cardiff want to see their boy Drew McIntyre leave that show as the world champion, and they didn't do that. And clearly I think they only did the singing too as well as a way to give them enough time to produce the remaining part of the video package at the end. So it is what it is from there. So obviously it's going to take quite a bit more time for Triple H to really overhaul things from Vince McMahon's era. But despite an underwhelming finish, like I said, this was a tremendous show. It was a last minute review that I wasn't going to end up doing, but I decided to go ahead and do it anyway because it was a big occasion of a show, and I will definitely still be back with a Survivor Series review. In the meantime, check out the other content you see here on the screen, and all my social media and affiliate links will be in the description and pinned comment below. Until then, take care.